What's going on, champs and champions? It's FireMonkey here, playing some more Fortnite, but something very interesting came out today, which was a surprise hotfix by Epic Games, where they listed tons of little changes, little quality of life things, or nerfs, or buffs, whatever you want to call them, that came out to the game earlier today and are currently active, but they also mentioned some upcoming updates they're going to be making to the game with the v23.10 update that releases next week. So in today's YouTube video, we're just going to be kind of recapping everything that went down. We'll be telling you guys all of the changes, what you need to know, and just everything else going on, including some specifics for some weapons. And we're not going to talk about the specifics for every single weapon in the game, but we are going to tell some of the more important ones so that you can be kept in the loop with everything that's going on with your favorite video game. So to start us off, let's talk about the Shockwave Hammer. Firstly, in the next game update that happens next week, which will also add all the Winterfest stuff and everything like that, we are going to be seeing a change to the Shockwave Hammer, where it will no longer be able to deal damage to players through structures and builds. This is kind of a bug that's been going on right now that a lot of people thought was just an intended feature of this hammer because of how the Shockwave effect works, but no, it appears that this was just a little mistake on Epic's end, and they will be fixing this in the next update, meaning that you might not be always hitting all those shots with this hammer like you currently were in the current build of the game. But on top of that, currently live right now with the Shockwave Hammer is a nerf to the actual cooldown time. So if you guys don't know, you're able to get 4 little bounces, and every single time you're under 4, each bounce takes 15 seconds to actually cool down in order for you to use it once again. Well, Epic Games has upped the cooldown from 15 seconds to 20 seconds, so in total, instead of having to wait 15 seconds per each charge, you'll have to wait 20 seconds. So basically, if you want to go from 0 charges all the way back up to 4, that is one whole entire minute and 20 extra seconds just to get all of those charges back. So you're definitely going to be wanting to stack up on multiple hammers if that is something you're wanting to use, right? If you want to use the hammer and you want to bounce around a lot, you're definitely going to want to make sure you have multiple of those hammers around you, just so you're able to actually keep the bounces going without having to worry about, oh, we have a very limited supply. I can't jump around as much as I will need to, or as much as I want to. So it's definitely something where you're going to have to decide how your inventory is going to look based on that change. But other than that, there hasn't been any damage nerfs or anything like that to the hammer. It's just really the cooldown time and a few bugs they've talked about. Now, next up is some more environmental changes before we talk about more of the bigger ones that are going on with the game. Something that they're going to be doing in the next game update is making it so rocks all over the Fortnite island give you a significant increase in materials. So if you're playing Fortnite building enabled Battle Royale, or just anything with building enabled on the Battle Royale map, whenever you're harvesting these rocks right here, or just, any rock type material on the island, you'll be getting more materials out of it, and you'll be able to build a lot more, a lot quicker, just because they're going to be buffing the actual amount of material gain you'll be getting from the game. And honestly, it's super interesting to see Epic Games just casually mention this stuff already, being like, hey, this is a change we're doing next week, right? It's something that was kind of unexpected, but at the same time, it was a pretty good change, right? It's a pretty good thing to see this type of communication coming from the game developers themselves. Now, regarding a little smaller change here that happened with this update that is currently live, however, light ammo now drops in stacks of 20 instead of stacks of 18. I highly think that the reason Epic Games made this small buff of, 2 extra ammo bits every single time you get light ammo is just because of the fact that currently in its current state, light ammo is something that we're seeing being used a lot more. I mean, we have the tactical AR, which uses light ammo, which you can only get from an augment. We have the machine pistol, which uses, well, it's not the machine pistol, but we have a pistol that uses light ammo. We have the actual SMGs all using light ammo. A lot of the loot pool right now seems to rely heavily on light ammo, so seeing Epic Games making it a little bit more common is just a nice thing to see overall, right? It's uncertain if this is really going to make that big of a change to the game itself, but it is nice to see that Epic Games are making these small changes and adjustments and being open with their community, telling everyone, hey, we're going to make this a little bit more common. Now, of course, they're not telling the community everything though, because for our next little change, it was a very vague one in their actual post, which stated that the Excalibur rifle has had its hipfire accuracy reduced, it's had its player damage reduced, and it now does less damage to, nearby structures. So basically, they just heavily nerfed that entire rifle entirely. It still shoots the blades out, it still explodes and everything, has the cool little effects, but now it does a little bit more damage. Regarding how much it does to structures, I'm not entirely certain as of right now, but I do know that when it comes to actually using the weapon itself, if you manage to hit an opponent with it, it will do 4 less damage than it did before. So instead of doing 70 damage for the legendary version, it will now do 66 damage, and you can kind of convert that to whichever version you typically used, just expect it to do a little bit less damage than you're used to. So they basically were like, yeah, this weapon's a little too overpowered, so let's go ahead and, nerf it a little bit more. Now, regarding if the nerf's good or bad, I'm not really going to say my own opinion on that, because to be completely honest here, I rarely use the Excalibur rifle. Like, I understand it's a cool rifle or whatever, but since it uses shotgun ammo, I always find myself just taking a shotgun instead, because I feel I'm more accurate with a shotgun than I am with that rifle. And speaking of shotguns, the only two real other changes that happen with this update relate to the shotguns. So firstly, if I look over here, actually, there's a little bit more than just those two, but when it comes to shotguns, we actually had the Maven auto shotgun firing quicker and having increased accuracy. So, not the shotgun I'm using right now, but the Thunder shotgun that I'm using actually did get a nice little buff. Now it's a little bit faster to equip, so whenever you're switching to that actual shotgun, you'll be able to pull it out quicker, you'll be able to use it quicker and shoot your enemies, which could be a very useful thing whenever you're in combat, right? If you need to quickly pull out a shotgun because you think it's going to be enough to finish the person that you're fighting, you now have a higher chance of being able to get that done faster if you're using the Thunder shotgun. Now, of course, if you're using the Maven, you also got your buffs and everything going on there. The tactical pistol, however, has also had its accuracy and recoil increased. Well, not increased, but improved, basically, right? Because, basically the recoil is lower now. Sorry, bad use of words there. And the accuracy is better. So it's just, a better overall weapon to use if it's something you find on the ground. And honestly, the pistol this season is really nice, right? I find like the automatic firing of it just to make it a lot more useful whenever I find it on the ground. And sometimes, I kind of prefer to take that pistol over a normal SMG, depending on what I'm really trying to do with my match. So it's nice to see that they're still improving the pistol and making it even better for those who might want to use it in a game. And then for our final little change that Epic Games made with today's hotfix update, they made it so those POI banners, those little things that you're able to go and send around a circle in and actually capture, they now take less time. Now, before it took a whole entire minute, so 60 seconds, in order to capture one of those POI banners. However, now with the hotfix update, it takes 45 seconds to capture it. So, it's still a lot of time that you're sitting in that circle, right? It's still a decent amount of time in order to claim a POI banner, but now it's like 15 seconds shorter, so you have a lot less to worry about, and you can basically have a lot more fun, just trying to claim as many as possible. Overall, though, a decent amount of hotfixes and everything. It's nice to see Epic Games having communication about stuff happening with their next game update. It might be that they're trying to have this little bit of communication or whatever else a little bit more right now, because they are going to be going on break after the update comes out, the V23.10 update, and we won't really see much from them that hasn't already been in the files until January of next year. So maybe that's why they're kind of communicating stuff a little bit more right now, just prep everyone so that everyone that works at Epic can go on break or whatnot. But yeah, overall, decent amount of bug fixes. I'm excited to see everything going on with the game. There's been a lot of people, thinking about that Shockwave Hammer changes and everything, debating over, is this a good change? Is this a bad change? And it is definitely an interesting situation because the hammer is in an interesting spot. It seems that in casual games, a lot of people are enjoying it, right? A lot of people want it to stay the way it is in casual modes, but people want it nerfed in competitive. And a lot of people have been suggesting to Epic Games make a unique system where you can have different stats on the Shockwave Hammer specifically for the competitive mode, while normal games get, a more ambitious, I guess you would say, or I guess, just more exotic version of that hammer, just a more fun one that allows people to have more chaos, because it is a completely different atmosphere when some people think about it. And then for our final change, which is, a interesting one that they never even mentioned in their blog post, but they silently did, those Oathbound chests, which are basically, those like white chests you can find on the map, are now less common. And in fact, before this update, they had a 100% spawn chance. So if there was an Oathbound chest that spawned in a location and you knew about that location, every single time you went there, one of those chests would be guaranteed, because Epic Games had it set up so they would always spawn in no matter what. However, with the hotfix update, they secretly dropped that percentage down from 100% to 70%. So there is a 30% chance when you're playing the Fortnite that you might not actually find those Oathbound chests. I assume maybe it's because they, give more of rarer loot or whatever, and maybe, someone goes there and they're always guaranteeing themselves tons of good loot at the start of a match, and they might know all those locations. It could make it a little bit OP for certain players who are just more well-versed on the Fortnite island and know exactly where to go, because those chests have a little bit less RNG going on with them. We won the match in a bot lobby, that's amazing, but yeah, that's just a small little slight change they did on top of this that I just remembered last minute because they never originally announced it anywhere. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's YouTube video. Hope you found it informative. If you did, consider subscribing and support the content I create, and I'll see y'all tomorrow with another upload. Peace out.